Welcome to the fifth session on words from daily newspaper headlines. The first word is trailblazer. So, who is a trailblazer? Or what is the trailblazer? So, it's the first person to do something, a pioneer. So, the meaning? The first person to do something? Here are some sentences from the word trailblazer. Outspoken during and after his playing days, Chandra was a trailblazer both as a player and as a coach. So here, Chandra was the first person to be outspoken, probably. And that's why, outspoken during and after his playing days, Chandra was a trailblazer both as a player and as a coach. Another usage. The Ellen DeGeneres show is an imperfect trailblazer for LGBTQ visibility. For those of you who are not aware, Q stands for queer in the LGBTQ. So the Ellen DeGeneres show, an imperfect trailblazer for LGBTQ visibility. So probably it's the first show which has given LGBTQ issues that kind of visibility and therefore an imperfect trailblazer. 13-year-olds win gold and silver and trailblazer status in Olympic women's skateboarding. So we are all aware that the Olympic skateboarding for women's was won by three teenage girls. The gold and silver went to 13-year-olds, Momiji Nishia and Reza Leal, so both 13-year-olds. So they were the first 13-year-olds to win an Olympic medal and hence a trailblazer status. Next word we have is refrain, meaning to avoid doing something. The government has urged people to refrain from mass celebrations during the festive season. Refrain from panic buying during shortages. Panic buying will lead to even further shortages and hence refrain. The IPL franchisees have asked the players to refrain from speaking to the media on issues of IPL. So we have trailblazer, which means the first person to do something, and refrain, meaning to avoid doing something. Next words, curb. Curb means to limit or control something. So, as I said, the meaning is to limit or to control something. The first usage, the chief minister orders patrolling to curb disposal of bodies in rivers. Now, this was observed during the COVID pandemic, and hence patrolling of rivers was required to curb disposal of bodies in the rivers. Cooperation of people vital to curb incidences of crime. Obviously, if people do not report, the incidences of crime cannot be curbed. Police step up vigil to curb movement in the city. Vigil here means to be on guard. So, police were on guard to ensure that the movement of people in the city was curbed, limited, or controlled. This was a headline which happened during pandemic. Now, I'm not making up these sentences. All these sentences are direct newspaper headlines. So in some cases, I just try to give you the context in which that headline appeared so that you understand. So police step up vigil to curb movement in the city. It only means that the police have increased their patrolling duty and police have been placed all over the city to ensure that the movement of people is curbed or limited. The next word is mandate. Mandate is the authority given to an elected group of people. It could also mean an official order. So, first sentence, after most of its population was vaccinated, Israel lifted the mask mandate on people. So, during the COVID pandemic, we all had to wear masks in public. So, after most of its population was vaccinated, Israel lifted that curb or that limit. So, it lifted the mask mandate. In this case, the mandate means a compulsion. So, mask was compulsory in public and Israel lifted that mandate. Another usage, Amazon cancels 1 month Prime subscription in India because of RBI mandate. So, because of the RBI guideline given to it, it had to cancel 1 month Prime subscription in India. Next, Visa has complied with RBI's data localization mandate, a report. So, in this case, Visa, the company, was required to have localized data or data stored within the country itself. And therefore, Visa has complied with RBI's data localization mandate. Here, mandate means a compulsion or a guideline or a necessary requirement by RBI. Farcical, the next word. Now, farce means a joke or something that is absurd. So, farcical, something silly or unreasonable, or something which is absurd or like a joke. Here are some usages. Court fines Delhi police 25,000 rupee for farcical probe into riots case. So probably the court felt that the Delhi police did not do its job properly and hence a farcical probe into the riots cases. Effectively, court has called Delhi police's probe or investigation a farce, a joke. Pakistan's approach in Kulbhushan case farcical, says India. So obviously, India is not happy with the approach of Pakistan in Kulbhushan's case. India was not being given any access to Kulbhushan, and hence the approach was called farcical or a joke, or it was considered absurd by India. Another sentence, many people term the stimulus package of rupees 20 trillion farcical because they feel this package is very less as compared to the actual requirement, and therefore they call it absurd or farcical. Next word, defer. Defer means to delay something. Here is the first sentence, banks, unions defer strike. So they delay the strike. Next, government panel recommends that those who got COVID positive should defer vaccine for 6 months. It's come down to, I think, 12 weeks now. But initial mandate recommended, or initially the panel recommended that those who got COVID positive should defer vaccine for 6 months. Next sentence, universities to defer all examinations. Obviously, conducting examination or physically calling students to appear for examinations is very difficult, and therefore universities to defer all examinations. Next, jibe. Now, jibe means an insulting remark or a very critical remark. The budding actor takes a jibe at trolls on social media as she celebrates 3 years of her association with Bollywood. So she obviously, you have to deal with trolls as a public figure, and some days you just want to give it back. So she takes a jibe at trolls on social media as she celebrates 3 years of her association with Bollywood. Country Delight, the milk brand, takes a jibe at regular milk ads with a new commercial. Very common in advertising industry. Earlier on, we used to see it with Pepsi and Cola. They used to take regular jibes at each other in through their commercials. In this case, it is Country Delight, the milk brand, that takes a jibe at regular milk ads with a new commercial. An opposition leader took jibe at central government over no deaths due to oxygen shortage statement. Obviously, very difficult to believe statement that there was no death due to oxygen shortage, and therefore the opposition leader took jibe at the central government. Tweak means to adjust something, to twist something, to change something. Here are some sentences with the word tweak. Delhi High Court on Wednesday asked the center to tweak the CoWIN app for vaccination against COVID 19 to enlarge its reach and make it easier to access. So, obviously, some settings or some adjustment was required, and hence the High Court asked the government or the center to tweak the CoWIN app. With Class 12 examinations cancelled, varsities discuss ways to tweak undergraduate admission process. So varsities is basically universities and institutes. So they now will have to face the challenge of giving admissions to 12th class students, and therefore they have to tweak their undergraduate admission process. PFRDA government in talks to tweak law to cover retirement funds. So PFRDA stands for Pension Fund and Regulatory Development Authority. So it has been in talks to tweak, make small changes to the law that covers retirement funds, and hence tweak the law to make minor changes or adjustments. So we have two words, jibe, which means an insulting remark, and tweak, to make minor adjustments to something. The next word is onus. Onus means burden or responsibility. So, as I said, meaning something that is one's responsibility or one's burden, onus. Here are some sentences. Onus on states to rehabilitate children orphaned by COVID. Obviously, it is the state governments which should be responsible to rehabilitate children orphaned by COVID. And therefore, they have to share the burden of rehabilitating orphaned children. And thus the sentence, onus on states to rehabilitate children orphaned by COVID. Center passes the onus of dealing with rising private school fee to states. Once again, since the schools are located in the states, they would have better control and better knowledge of what should be the right fee in a particular state. And therefore, the center passes the onus or the burden of dealing with the rising private school fee to states. I wouldn't call it burden in this case, responsibility is more appropriate. Next, onus on parents to prevent children from eating junk food. So this responsibility surely lies with the parents. Sizzle, to make sound of food frying or something full of excitement. Here is the first sentence. Millions in India's northern states sizzle in severe heat wave. Here sizzle would mean it's like burn due to heat, and therefore sizzle in severe heat wave. Pune-based golfer Udyan Mane set to sizzle in Tokyo I's elusive Olympic medal. So here the word sizzle means he is set to excite. We have or we expect a medal from him, and therefore Pune-based golfer Udyan Mane set to sizzle in Tokyo. Inventory jumps again as markets continue to sizzle. This particular headline refers to real estate when the prices of real estate were growing. So even though inventory jumps again, inventory here means inventory here refers to apartments or houses available on sale. So when the markets are on the rise, when the prices are on the rise, you can expect more and more people to build more and more apartments and houses for sale. So these were the two words, onus, which means something that is one's responsibility or one's burden, and sizzle, which means to make the sound of food frying or excitement. With this, we come to an end of the fifth session on words from newspaper headlines. Thank you.